Francis was not a conventional pontiff, and even in his death, he continues to break from tradition. A year before his death, Pope Francis requested a simplified funeral. But as tens of thousands of mourners descend on the Vatican to bid goodbye, the funeral of one of the most influential figures of our times is bound to be bigger than anything we've ever seen. The funeral plans are dictated by the funeral rites of the Roman Pontiff and a 20-page document called the Universi Dominici Gregis, or the Shepherd of the Lord's Whole Flock. The funeral itself will take place in St. Peter's Square in front of the Basilica, where his body has been lying in state for 3 days for the public to pay their respects. The service usually lasts about 2.5 hours and is mostly conducted in Latin. It will be led by the Dean of the College of Cardinals, Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re, who will begin with a procession led by a priest carrying a cross, followed by the coffin and the ordained clergy. The Swiss Guards, who have protected the Pope and the Apostolic Palace since 1506, will kneel for the consecration of the hosts, the blessing of the bread and wine. A homily or sermon will be delivered that will refer to the life of the Pope. The service will end with the final commendation and valediction. After the service, the body will be carried through the door of death to the left of the altar at St. Peter's, while a 10-ton funeral bell tolls. The congregation will chant lines from Psalm 117, which is "Open to me the gates of justice," and Psalm 41, "In the splendid company of the saints, I will go to the house of God." More than 200,000 people are expected to attend the ceremony, including some 130 delegations. Around 50 heads of states have confirmed their attendance. US President Donald Trump confirmed that him and First Lady Melania Trump will attend the Pope's funeral. Trump said they both look forward to being there. Britain's Prince William is confirmed to attend Pope Francis's funeral in Rome. The Prince of Wales's attendance in place of the King is a modern tradition and a statement to further establish William's role as the future king. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer will also be representing the United Kingdom at the service. French President Emmanuel Macron will be in attendance for the Pontiff's funeral in Rome. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is confirmed to be in attendance for the service at St. Peter's Basilica. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has reportedly cancelled a visit to Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan in order to attend the funeral. Javier Milei, the president of Pope Francis's native Argentina, will also be travelling to Rome for the funeral service. Brazilian President Lula, a lifelong friend of Pope Francis, will represent the world's largest Catholic population. King Philippe and Queen Letizia of Spain, which is a Catholic-majority country, will be in attendance. Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the head of the state for Asia's largest Catholic population, will also be present. Following the funeral, Pope Francis's coffin will be taken to the Basilica of St. Mary Major, which is about 4 kilometers away from St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Pope Francis will be taken in a procession through Rome that will be taken at a walking pace in order to allow people to bid farewell to the Pope on his final journey. The Vatican said this is because the disadvantaged had a special place in the heart of Pope Francis. The Pontiff said he wished to be buried in the Basilica of St. Mary Major rather than at St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican, like most of his predecessors. The Basilica was one of Francis's most favorite places to pray. In his will, he stipulated a simple burial in the earth without particular decoration, marked only with his papal name in Latin, Franciscus. While it's a less orthodox place to be laid to rest, St. Mary Major is still fit for a pontiff, with 7 other popes choosing to be buried there. The basilica was founded in 432, a year after the Council of Ephesus declared Mary to be the Mother of God. It is said that the church's ceiling was made from a batch of gold brought back by the explorer Christopher Columbus. The burial will be a private ceremony, but people will be able to visit his burial place from Sunday morning. A 9-day mourning period begins on the day of the funeral, known as the Novandile. During this period, the cardinals from all over the world will arrive at the Vatican for the Papal Conclave, which is a private meeting where cardinals choose a new pope. It will be held in the Sistine Chapel, the famous Vatican Hall, whose walls and ceilings are decorated with the works of Michelangelo. Only those under the age of 80, which is some 135 cardinals, are eligible to cast their votes for a new pope and are shuttered away during the entire process. The cardinals hold 2 daily balloting sessions until one candidate has a majority of 2/3 plus 1. They are all sworn to secrecy about the voting. If no result has been reached in 3 days, the sessions are suspended for a day to allow for prayer and discussion. So how do we know when a new pope has been chosen? It all comes down to smoke. If the cardinals have not reached a majority in their ballots, the cards and the tally sheets are placed in a stove and burnt with an additive to produce black smoke, showing the outside world that a new pope has not yet been chosen. When enough cardinals agree on a candidate for the next pope, that candidate is then asked if he accepts, and by which name he proceeds to be known. Then the ballots are burnt as before, but with an additive to produce white smoke. The white smoke rises from the chapel's chimney and the bells of St. Peter's Basilica will ring out. Watching for smoke arising from the top of the Sistine Chapel is something of a tradition, with thousands thronging St. Peter's Square for the spectacle. Once the new pope has chosen his papal name, he is dressed in papal vestments before proceeding out to the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. It is here that the senior Cardinal Dean announces Habemus Papam, we have a pope, before the new pontiff imparts his blessing on Rome and the world.